Every habitat in this season so far has run, in the end, on the sun, the tunnels under the savanna, the burrows beneath the plain, all of them supplied from sunlit economies overhead. A cave is where that supply line is cut. Walk in from the entrance and you cross 3 borders in turn. The entrance zone, where daylight still reaches and green things still grow. The twilight zone, where light fades past the point of photosynthesis. And then the dark zone, permanent, total chemical darkness, where no plant has ever grown and no day has ever broken. Everything that lives past that third border lives in an economy with no local production at all. What lives there wears a uniform. Across the world's caves, in rock, in any climate, on every continent, the permanent residents converge on the same form. Eyes reduced or absent, pigment gone, bodies pale to translucent, limbs and feelers lengthened, metabolisms turned far down. Cave spiders, cave shrimp, cave salamanders, cave fish, unrelated lineages, same answer. The worked example lives in the flooded caves of Mexico. The blind cave fish, Istianax mexicanus, a palm-sized tetra that, over many generations underground, has lost its pigment and, in many populations, its eyes entirely. The sockets sealed beneath skin and scales, showing only as faint smudges. It navigates by reading the water itself, sensing the minute pressure waves of its own movement reflecting off the rock, and it taps out little clicks whose returning ripples seem to help it home in on food. An eye is expensive tissue. In a world with nothing to see, the budget goes to other instruments. The question is what anything down here eats, and the answer in most caves is imports. Food arrives or it does not exist. Leaf litter and drowned insects washed in by floods, the blind fish's staple, scraps delivered by storms it never sees, and, in caves with an entrance to the evening sky, the single greatest import service in the underground world: bats. A roosting colony commutes out each night, feeds in the sunlit economy, and returns to deposit the proceeds as guano. And a steady rain of guano is, for a cave, what sunlight is for a forest. Whole food webs of mites, beetles, fungi, and their predators stand on the bats' nightly haulage. The dark zone is not self-sufficient. It is a port town, living on what the surface ships in. The Mexican tetra offers something rarer than an adaptation, a controlled experiment. The same species still swims in the sunlit rivers outside, with full eyes and silver pigment, and the 2 forms can still interbreed. 1 fish, 2 worlds, a before and after photograph of what the dark removes and what it demands, written into living populations. Researchers cross the forms and watch the genetics of eye loss unfold, not decay, but reallocation, evolution editing out an organ whose price no longer buys anything. And then there is the cave that broke the pattern. In 1986, ground surveys near Mangalia, Romania, ahead of construction work, broke into a cavity that no entrance had served in living memory of the landscape. Movile Cave, sealed from the surface by the evidence for millions of years. Its lower galleries hold still water rich in hydrogen sulfide, under air thin in oxygen and heavy with gases no lung enjoys, and the water is alive. Films of microbial mat coat the surfaces, and those microbes are doing what nothing else in the terrestrial dark can do: fixing their own carbon by chemosynthesis, drawing energy from the sulfides in the water exactly as the vent bacteria do at the bottom of the ocean. On that foundation stands a complete, self-sufficient ecosystem. Woodlice, spiders, leeches, centipedes, water scorpions, dozens of species found nowhere else on Earth, most of them blind and white, an island biology powered without 1 photon. The hydrothermal vents taught us that life does not require sunlight, only an energy gradient. Movile is the same lesson, delivered not from the abyss but from under a Romanian field. That is the right place to end the underground arc, because it reframes everything above it. The mole's star, the mole rat's hive, the termite's tower, the cicada's clock, all of them are ways of living near the sun's economy while hiding from its weather. The cave goes further, to the edge of the grid. Movile steps off it entirely. The darkness, it turns out, was never empty. It was a market waiting for a different currency. Somewhere in a flooded gallery in Mexico, A white fish turns in black water that has never reflected a sky, reading the ripples of its own motion, at home in the oldest night there is.